he's young, he is creative, he is doing something completely different.
It's very simple. It's a very sort of French chic woman. Joseph just said to me he really liked the idea of a small head. I suppose in a way it's like a little bit of a bow, like in the hair. So it's very contained and very small, but just a little detail. Very tight, low ponytail in the back. Once the ponytail's in, just rolling it under, pinning it, and then using the end to make almost like the bow, the sort of the bow effect over the top. And that's it. Just very simple. I think Joseph's woman's very strong, very confident. And yeah, that very sort of Parisian chic woman.
It really started with the movie Orlando, and kind of this tension between masculine and feminine, and there's something about how serene it was as well, and we were really trying to capture, you know, the essence of that kind of serenity with the show as well, which is why, you know, it's a slower music and there's this kind of calm about it, which I think is really interesting. We were working with fabrics that were very masculine, like these railroad stripes and these almost like, you know, waxed cottons, and how you kind of can co-opt those and do some, you know, really interesting feminine shapes and slash them and show the arms or slash them in the back. But then you also have this other side of the collection that was really all about embellishment and all about adornment, and how those things on, you know, very masculine fabrics, like these, you know, striped linens and striped cottons, can be really unexpected.
I love the show. I absolutely love the show. I mean, the whole thing was beautifully cohesive and thoughtful, from the capes in the beginning over the crystal blouses all the way through to the more embellished pieces at the end. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Wow, what a beautiful show. The tailoring was impeccable. The fantasy, the dream part of it, the embroider, the jewelry, the embroidered of those corsets, it was really phenomenal.
I mean, it was an interesting mix of textures and ideas and embellishment, but also, I mean, I think really romantic in a way.
We did a little less print this season, but the prints are a kind of an Art Deco jewelry piece, which we reworked, and we created these kind of organic shapes with them. But it was really about finding something that felt very French in a print, like almost like a scarf that, you know, someone would have had 40 years ago in France and worn with like a suit, you know, something really very traditional.
Again, the shoes. I mean, last season, his boots were really the craze. He really set the tone last season for New York. And I think he might do it this time again.
When we were thinking about the shoes for the show, we wanted a covered leg, and we wanted something that would be so different from what we were doing with the clothing that it would create like an additional layer of, you know, tension and interest for the show and for the client. So, you know, we did these kind of slashed boots in the front, so you see the toes, or these knee-high gladiators that are also embroidered. So it was kind of like a whole vision.
I mean, from the head to the toes, all the way. It was just phenomenal.
It's so exciting when you see an artist really hitting their stride, and he is right there.
It's very authentic, it's very him, and it doesn't reference anybody else, and that is so appreciated. When you leave a show and you're like, wow, that was an amazing show, when you can see the designer's sensibility and then you don't see anybody else and he's doing his own thing. This was very him, and he is very young, but clearly very talented.
You do evolve a point of view, and you do keep on working on the same ideas, and you kind of stumble on new ideas. I think we've always had the same core customer, and I'm always inspired by the same women. You know, I think when you look at all the seasons, even though each season is very different, there is a kind of cohesiveness about it, which there's a thread almost. You know, there's the tailoring, and there's this idea of kind of eroticism, and there's this idea of seduction that's always going to be there because it's very much part of the brand.